Hello, friends. Happy Tuesday, and welcome to Carmen Live with Friends. And today, my friend, and it is my pleasure to introduce to you guys our FASTSIGNS International CEO and Chair of the International Franchise Association, Ms. Carmen Monson. Welcome.
Well, Carmen, thank you. I've been looking forward to this. I'm glad we have this time together.
Me too. I'd like to say that this is the only opportunity that I get one-on-one with you, but I think we get a lot of one-on-ones with you at our conventions and at outside sales summits. So I just want to say that we appreciate that because I know there are other franchisees that really appreciate that time with you.
Well, thank you very much. You're being very kind.
So a little bit about you, Miss Catherine, and actually I'm going to let you just go ahead and share a little bit about yourself. I know that's always so uncomfortable, but tell me a little bit about how you got to be the CEO of FASTSIGNS International.
Well, I really think that at growing up, I knew I wanted to be a CEO. Now, I didn't know the term CEO, but I knew that I wanted to run a company. And I don't know where that came from. I really don't. I grew up in a family business. On the weekends, when I was 8, 9, 10 years old, I would go with dad, and we had preschools, and I'd, mow the lawn and clean the kitchen and scrub the toilets. And then he and I would talk business. And through the years, I just fell in love with business, right? And I just think some people, I don't know if it's firstborn syndrome because I'm the oldest of 4 kids, or exactly what it is. But I always wanted to be a leader. If you look at, different situations in high school, in college, early in my career, like if you're doing some kind of a case study in college, like, somebody's got to lead. Let's go. Let's go. Nobody's leading. Okay, I'll lead. I'll fill that vacuum. So that was just natural. So I just knew that I always wanted to lead a company. I got a degree in business administration, and then don't tell anybody on my IT team this, but a minor in computer science. Now, they will not believe that when I come in and say, my printer won't work. And they say, really helps if you plug the cable in. So I don't know. But I really do have a minor in computer science, but I don't think that works today because that was a long, long time ago. And then I just started my career, and I got my first job that I could get. And 6 months into it, I realized that I didn't enjoy it. And I got my next job, which was a buyer at Beckman Instruments. And I loved it. And it was fun. And I got to negotiate contracts and do really cool stuff. And then about 2.5, 3 years into that, I woke up one day and I said, purchasing managers never become CEOs. I better find something in sales or marketing because I have a goal to be a CEO, and purchasing managers become purchasing managers and then they die. They never become CEOs. And so I started looking for a job in sales or marketing, and I got hired by a little franchising company with under 200 locations called Sir Speedy Printing Centers. And I fell in love with franchising, and I was with that company as it became multi-brand for 28 years. I never ever thought I would leave. I loved franchising. I loved what I was doing. I did all kinds of different roles and over the years, as we became multi-brand, I became president of the printing brand. I wasn't looking for a job, and then in the summer of 2008, I got a phone call, and the phone call was from the chairman and president and CEO of Rourke Capital Group, a private equity firm that specializes in franchising. And he said, we think you'd be the perfect CEO for one of our portfolio companies. You need to know I was a Southern California girl. And I said, first question, where's it located? He said, Dallas. And I laughed out loud and said, there's not a chance in hell I would ever move to Dallas. And 6 months later, I was here. So that's that story.
That's awesome. And I remember when they said that we had a new CEO and that it was a woman. I'd been with FASTSIGNS since 2005. I worked for Rod Quick and Apopka, and I was so thrilled. I was like, yes, a woman. And then, of course, you came into our center. I don't know if you remember that, but you came into our center, and I was just kind of like, wow, she's actually here. Like I didn't expect you to actually walk in the door. Even though we knew you were coming, it was a big surprise to us. And then, of course, you did Undercover Boss. And I just
Yep.
thought that was the coolest thing. I won't say how old I was then, but I thought that was the coolest thing. And then I went and I friended you on social media, and I thought, she friended me. How awesome is that? So you accepted my friend request, and then when Rod and I signed our franchise agreement for Daytona, you sent me a private message and you said, congratulations, I just signed your franchise agreement. I think it was at 7:00 in the morning. And I was like, wow, she just sent me a private message. I just thought that was the most amazing thing. And then, of course, you asked us to sit with you last year at our Outside Sales Summit. We had many contact between that. And I just thought, this person is amazing. And I just love your one-on-one with the franchise, with franchisees and with people in the network. It's really, I have so many friends now that own other franchises. And when I tell them about Miss Catherine Monson, they're like, you guys are so lucky. You're so blessed to have someone like that in leadership. And we really are. So I think they were right. You were the perfect fit for FASTSIGNS.
Well, thank you. I mean, I do believe that all of my experiences up to that time had me perfectly prepared. And I also believe that this is where I'm meant to be, whether you call that, fate or divine intervention or the aligning of the stars or whatever you want to call it. I really feel like this is where I'm supposed to be.
Well, I would agree, and I'm sure a lot of the other franchisees agree. And we have 700 plus centers, correct?
730 some odd. I should really know that number, but
700.
yeah, over 738. How's that? That sounds like a good number for today. I know I'm within 2 or 3.
That's perfect. And it is an international brand. So we do have franchises in Chile, Puerto Rico. We have some in Spain, Malta. Am I missing some? We have
the UK, Canada, Australia, Grand Cayman. I think we got it all.
Yeah.
Saudi Arabia.
Dubai.
United Arab Emirates. You're exactly right.
There you go.
We got it all together. Together we can get this done.
There you go. So now I can't remember. I'm trying to think when you guys opened that first international store. Was it?
Well, when I came here in January of 2009, we were already in
UK,
Canada, UK, Australia. Right. And so then I would think the first one after that might have been Grand Cayman. Puerto Rico is not too far behind, though I understand Puerto Rico isn't a separate country. It's a protectorate. Is that the right term?
Yeah, but we're considered part of the international brand, and now they've got Dominican Republic.
Exactly right. That's exactly right. And Dominican Republic, in fact, they sold their first franchise agreement for the Dominican that should open later this year.
I saw that.
If the world's a little crazy right now.
Is it?
If the world could just settle down a little bit, maybe no more pandemics, no more craziness, it would make some things a lot easier.
What do you think is the key, or why do you believe that FASTSIGNS has continued to grow so rapidly and really maintaining its status as the top of the industry? Because I would definitely say we're the top brand of the industry.
Well, I think to start with, we've got great franchisees, because if you didn't have great franchisees, you wouldn't be able to accomplish the things you need to accomplish, right? So we start with great franchisees. I think there's a beautiful interdependent relationship between the franchisees and the franchisor, where we are completely aligned. We are looking to achieve the same things. We're working together, not apart. It's us, not we versus them. And, there's a great collaboration on looking for new products and services and innovation and ways to improve the business. And whether we're talking about our National Advertising Council Board of Directors, and we just ended a 2-day virtual meeting. If it wasn't COVID, we would have been in person today and yesterday, but instead we did 3 long blocks of virtual meetings. Whether we're talking about them or our Franchise Advisory Council, our Corporate Guidance Group, we have a lot of franchisee involvement to help bounce ideas off and bring us ideas and work to make ourselves the best possible. And then, it's great to be in an industry that does not really have a displacing digital alternative. If you think about quick printing, where I came from, in 1980, when I started with Sir Speedy, we printed tens of millions of letterheads and envelopes. Well, today, whoever mails a letter, right? It's a rare thing, right? You use email. And we printed directories and uh, users manuals. And now nobody prints those things. They're all online, right? So there's a displacing digital alternative that made more sense. Let me put my phone on silent. Sorry about that. I don't see a displacing digital alternative. Now, there are digital signs, but our franchisees can sell digital signs, right? And today we wrap vehicles and do vehicle graphics. And there could very well be a time in the future where there are digital vehicle graphics, where the vehicle images change. I mean, they're very good. The technology absolutely exists today.
Absolutely.
The question is, how many car accidents would that cause? Oh my God, the sign just changed on that car, right? You know, that could not be that could be bad. But we're always going to need signage and visual graphics, whether we're talking about a sporting event, a concert, a festival, a convention, a conference, whether we're talking retail locations, whether we're talking restaurants. There's always going to be a need to inform, direct, and sell. So part of it is we're in a great category. And then we've got great franchisees. We got a great corporate team. We're all focused on the same thing, which is world domination. No, it's not really world domination. Being the very best in this signage and visual graphic space.
You're absolutely right. World domination might be right.
Exactly right.
What you talked a little bit about being innovative, and I think we've definitely seen that with this pandemic. I mean, we've seen our business change, right? So being mainly business to business, and now really kind of shifting our, I would say our strategies to capitalize on business to consumer products, which is not something that we do all the time. It's a very small part of our business, but it's definitely been something that has been able to maintain our stores or our centers
Right.
currently. But then also the PPP part of it, that honestly,
Yeah.
as a franchisee, I would have never even thought about it. It wasn't till, we were watching those Connect with Catherine's that it really started to like go, oh, okay, we've got all this product that can do all these amazing things. So to lead into that, Connect with Catherine is a one-on-one with Miss Catherine Monson once a week. And we've been doing them once a week since the pandemic started, where you just go over all the things that we need to know as a franchisee. What I appreciate about that is I no longer have media overload. I felt like for the first week, there was so much media and I was trying to figure so many things out. And I quickly realized that after about the second Connect with Catherine, I didn't have to do that anymore. You were going to give me all the information that I needed to know to be educated in all the areas so that I could focus on my business. So as far as the innovative part, and again, because on your perspective, you're going to see it different than me, but do you feel like this shifts our business at all for temporary or long term?
Well, I think that I truly believe this pandemic is temporary. Now, I would have liked temporary been 2 or 3 months. I think it's going to be a longer temporary. I wouldn't be at all surprised if this temporary is 18 months. But it's temporary. I think long term, who needs signage more than anybody else? Businesses. I think that we will continue to be primarily B2B. However, this pandemic brought us really interesting and unusual opportunities. And so if we just think about it, in the middle of February, I was talking to my executive team saying, this thing is going to blow up. It's going to be bigger. I don't know what it's going to be, but I think we better prepare our franchisees to be able to work remotely. And very lucky or smart, whatever it is, 2 years ago, we went to G Suite. G Suite not only is Gmail, but it also has the full video conferencing and video call capabilities, right? And the ability to work remotely. And so I, tasked the IT team with putting together the how to work remotely if you work for a FASTSIGNS and get that out quickly. And so we had that all in place by March 2nd, before we might call, am I allowed to cuss?
Yes, you can do
Before
whatever
the
you want.
crap hit before the crap hit the fan. Let's just say that before the crap hit the fan, right? And I have always done Connect with Catherine's. If I think about when I started with the company in January of 2009, we were in the midst of the Great Recession. And I was having them at that point every 4 weeks. And it was all about helping franchisees get through that recession. And then when things got back to normal, I went to a cadence of every 6 to 8 weeks. So I've always done them every 6 to 8 weeks. And then, the second week of March, I said, okay, we got to go to a weekly cadence. And just last week, we announced things are stabilized enough we can go to every other week cadence. So, what we try to do with that Connect with Catherine is help franchisees, one, visualize themselves. In the beginning, I thought it was so important. Get remote. Get your folks set up now to work remote. Make sure that the minimum number of people have to be in your business to keep it running. Number two, have the courage to be deemed an essential business, because that was not easy. And I've heard from so many franchisees all around the country that have said all the other sign shops are closed, or the Grimco delivery driver says he's delivering to me every week, but he's not even going, but even every other week to the other sign companies. And I think that was because we gave you guys the recipe or the plan on how to prove you are an essential business. And just today I was talking with a franchisee who's got 5 locations. One is up for renewal. And I asked, how's it going? He says, going great. And he said, those Connect with Catherines have helped so much. When compliance came to my business and wanted to shut it down, I pulled out my essential business folder. And they went, all right, you are one. Okay, fine. Just keep the front door locked. That was a conversation today with a franchisee that is about to renew one of his 5 locations, right? So and then, we just started thinking about ideas and what you could make. If you think about the equipment that you cut plastic or acrylic with to make signs, you can cut acrylic for a safety shield, and you can cut thinner plastics for a face shield. And so then we just started having ideas. And then, kids can't have graduation. Kids can't have birthday parties. Okay. You want to make your kid feel loved. Let's think about graduation signs. Let's think about birthday signs. Let's think about Mother's Day signs. And then as we would share ideas, and franchisees, and we, as we quickly set up prepare.fastssigns.com that you can only get to if you're logged in through your fastssigns.com G Suite. So it's completely secure. And then we started saying share success stories, and that just gave more ideas. Look, this franchisee made a sales call to the school district and got $28,000 worth of graduation signs. And this, so then you're sharing success stories, and then someone comes up with a new idea, right? And then I'm out on my walk one Sunday. And so one of the things I've really focused on doing, because I've been working, and this is not a complaint. What I'm about to say is the farthest thing from a complaint, but since about March 5th, it's been 16 hours a day, 7 days a week until last weekend. Last weekend, I actually took both days off. I figured it was time I could do it. But I've been focused on self-care, and I've been walking about 5 miles a day as long as it's not raining. And I was on a Sunday afternoon walk, and I'm a workaholic. I'm walking and I'm reading my email. And there's an unsolicited email to me from someone about, can Fast Signs make intubation boxes? Heck, I called him on the phone within 10 minutes of getting the email. He says, I got plans. What can we do? I've got a relationship with Accenture for supply chain. Let's get you on there. And I said, hey, this is all great, but I need release of liability for my franchisees, because I don't want a nurse to later sue because she thinks she got COVID because the intubation box wasn't designed right. So we get with attorneys pro bono, they give us this release of liability. Just like things just happened. And maybe if I hadn't responded so quickly on that Sunday afternoon on a walk, maybe somebody else would have gotten that opportunity to do the innovation boxes and be known and get free PR from that guy. And that guy, his only motivation is keeping healthcare workers safe. He's not making money. We're not paying him. He's just saying, how can I help fight this pandemic and keep health workers safe? So, it's just a lot of things just happen. I think, Gary Solomon, the founder of Fast Signs, had a saying that says the universe rewards action. And I think that's absolutely true. And we just made sure we kept taking action and we kept sharing ideas. We're having now monthly calls with our Franchise Advertising Council and our National Advertising Council combined about where can we provide more support? What are we not thinking of that we can do? What's happening in the trenches? What are you seeing? What's working? What's not working, right? And we've come to rely on video conferencing. We are so blessed that we implemented Ring Central in January. Ring Central uses Zoom for its video conference capabilities, and then that just led to more good stuff. You know, I mean, the Universe Rewards Action, we're working hard. We're thinking every day. We're asking franchisees, how can we do better? What other ideas do you have? We share success stories, and then that just builds this almost like a flywheel that then just continues to power itself. And you know, our franchisees have done a great job of pivoting in the time of the pandemic. So
Yeah, and it's it's great, and then it's also good to know who has the successes, right? So there may be a franchisee that I don't necessarily know that I've reached out to and said, hey, you know what, this is great, you know, I love that you did this, or I love that you sent this letter to your local municipality. Can you send me the email if it's not up on the prepared site yet? Of course, a lot of things are, almost everything's up on the prepared site. But then we were ready to do our ribbon cutting last week, and you guys mentioned the social distancing decals, that we already had some things up, but I like my center to be very
pristine.
organized. That's the word. That's the word. My staff would tell me, they're like, oh my God.
Pristine is positive. Pristine is a positive word.
Okay. I'm going to take that as positive. Everybody else is like, we already vacuumed in the morning. Don't make me vacuum in the afternoon. So you guys come out with this package that fits our center, and I was so thrilled to have all that stuff up. But I love that somebody may have had an idea that, you know, we didn't necessarily think of, or a design, and we don't have to come up with the creative because it's all right there. So I think it's just been you guys as a brand have always done so well for us, and given us the opportunity to represent ourselves really well when we're not experts in a certain area. But during the pandemic, I really felt like we were so much ahead of the curve, whether it was the recession document that you sent way advanced before anybody started even talking about a recession and the possibility of that. For us, we are in an industry, and we are in a community that is event-based. We are tourist-based and restaurant-based. So I, you know, obviously my business partner has another store, so it was a totally different dynamic for his center, but it was really great to feed off of other people's enthusiasm, their wins, and their ideas, because there was definitely a time where I just thought, oh my God, it's going to be forever before Daytona Beach is moving. So I feel like we're seeing the light at the end of the tunnel, and I'm not sure that we would have been able to see that if we weren't connecting weekly. So again, to me, that's a big win. So you know, that's a win on your part.
Well, thank you. I want to just comment on two things that came to mind based on what you just said. You know, we know outside of pandemics, okay, we know that our economy is cyclical, right?
Mm-hmm.
We were in the longest expansion since the Great Depression. We knew that there would be a recession. So we literally started that recession document without it being a fire drill 18 months ago. Mm-hmm. We drafted it, 2 different franchise advisory council meetings. We had them look at it, give us feedback. We had it 95% done last summer. And then in early mid-February, as I saw this stuff happening, it was like, pull out the recession document, dust it off, and let's add not just recession, but crazy time. So that was really good. And so in that, as you know, we gave guidance to franchisees on how to increase sales, reduce expenses, and improve cash flow. And a lot of franchisees have said they got a lot of value. And then the other thing that you mentioned is, you know, I came into the office, I don't remember the date. It was a Monday in March. I'm just going to say March 16th. I might be wrong. Whatever that Monday was that week. It was the Monday after the bad weekend of so much bad stuff happening with the pandemic. I walked into the office and you could feel the tension. You could feel the negativity. Everybody was walking with their heads down. They were scared. And I was like, okay, we got to change attitude. So I sent an email out to everybody in the building. I said 9:30 in the main conference room. Let's go. Everybody social distance. And then I just said, guys, we got this, right? We know what we need to do. We've already made sure our franchisees know how to work remotely. We've already made sure you guys know how to work remotely. We've bought y'all everything you need to work remotely, webcams, Chromebooks, laptops, everything you need to work remotely. We got this. The most important thing is that we have a plan. We've got to expect the best, prepare for the worst, and capitalize on what comes. And in 30 minutes, the entire spirit of the corporate office changed. Well, if the corporate office is down and feeling the world's coming to an end, what's going to happen when we talk to a franchisee? It's very easy to pass along negativity, and it's also important to pass along positivity. And so then that afternoon, I went into the studio. I emailed my videographer and Chris Brooks. I said, in the studio, we got to make a video. And that same day, I sent that video out. And that was a Monday. And then I started doing weekly motivational videos on things that, resonate with me. And I've heard from a lot of franchisees that those help, that when they're feeling down, they get one, they watch it when they need to, and that reinvigorates. And I think it's so important for leaders to have a positive mental attitude. That doesn't mean Pollyanna, everything's going to be okay. And so, my mantra during the pandemic has been, and my mantra for all of our franchisees is expect the best. That's the positive attitude. Prepare for the worst. That's called being prepared, and capitalize on what comes. And that being our mantra or our theme, we've seen our franchisees capitalize in ways that we never imagined. So it's I never wish a pandemic on anybody. I wish this hadn't happened. Particularly, I was thinking about it. This is my year as chair of the International Franchise Association. It's a 1-year term. And, so many franchise brands were completely shut down. We were lucky that we were an essential business. But if you were a fitness studio, a hair salon, a nail salon, childcare, you were completely shut down, and just a challenging year.
Absolutely. And let's talk a little bit about the International Franchise Association. You've been on the board of directors 2008. Did I read that correctly?
Yeah.
2008.
Exactly right.
And we had the privilege of seeing you take on the new role as chair of the Franchise Association, or International Franchise Association. Yep. So tell me a little bit about what your goals are in that role.
Well, I've been very blessed. So I told you I started with a franchise company in 1980 and literally fell in love with franchising. What I love about franchising is I get to make a difference in people's lives. I get to make, how many people can say that, right? If you work for Coca-Cola, I like to pick on Coca-Cola because it's a sugary drink that has no redeeming social value. Watch it. Sorry for offending anybody who works for Coca-Cola. Anyway, right, what's the redeeming social value of a sugary drink that, it's not good for kids. It rots their teeth and makes them obese. So anyway, but I get to make a difference. I love it. I can make you laugh. It's so easy. I get to make a difference in people's lives. I get to help people achieve that dream of business ownership, create wealth for themselves and their family, create jobs and economic input, economic output. It's just great stuff, right? So I fell in love with franchising. And so then I started going to the annual convention for the IFA. And then I started volunteering on committees and, writing best practice white papers. And then one day I got invited to be on the board. And then, you're normally allowed to have 2 3-year terms. And then they put me in a position as vice chair and then chair of the Franchisor Forum, which kept me on the board because they appreciated that I was working, that I was making a difference, right? And I was contributing. And then I was invited to be in the chairs. And so this is my chair year. So my vision for my chair year, in fact, I have it right here, because I keep special notes
right in front of you, of course,
taped on my computer. But so mine was to really focus on franchising excellence. Most franchisors are good franchisors. Not many are excellent franchisors. And some franchisors are just average or below average. And when you have a franchisor that doesn't focus on unit level economics, franchisee satisfaction, and positive franchisee-franchisor relationships, particularly if they're not focused on unit level profitability, you could have franchisees go out of business, lose money. They go talk to their House member or their senator and say, boy, these franchisors, they're bad. Laws get passed, and every law has unintended consequences, right? So my vision was to really be a unifying and motivating force for all of franchising to adopt best practices and really be amazing franchisors. And then, of course, about March 15th, this little pandemic came along. And we're working instead on just helping franchisors, franchisees, and our supplier members survive the pandemic. And we've done a great job. We've done a great job in government relations and been very instrumental on the language for PPP loans. And we've got a bill right now. God, boy, thank you. I just remembered something I haven't done yet today. So let me just write that I need
You're
to
welcome.
do. Thank you for reminding me of that. Been very instrumental on Capitol Hill in much of these stimulus bills. And then we, quickly stood up a community website for all of our members. And we've been holding multiple 2 and 3 webinars a day, helping franchisees, franchisors, and our supplier members get through this pandemic, best practice ideas, suggestions, all kinds of stuff. So it's been very rewarding, but not quite the year I was looking for.
Aw, well, when I decided I was going to do this, I pulled up some information on you, and just to go over some, but I want you to tell me what accomplishment you're the most proud of. But I just wanted to list some. Of course, you became the CEO here in 2009. You received the Bonnie Lee Vine Award in franchising industry. In 2010, you received the Dallas Business Journal named you Woman Industry Leader in the Dallas Metroplex. You were on Undercover Boss. You were named in 2013 Innovator and Influencer by the Sign Digital Graphics magazine. You're obviously the chair now of the International Franchise Association, but in 2015, you were IFA's first Franchise Action Network Fan of the Year. I'm going to miss some of these because there's so many. You received in 2016, the Secretary of Defense Employer Support Freedom Award, which is the highest recognition presented by the Department of Defense. And that was presented to the franchise, correct?
Yep.
And then you were honored by the Sales and Marketing Executive International as an ambassador of the Free Enterprise Award, and more and more and more, because you are extremely accomplished. And it's why I wanted to highlight you, because I love highlighting women in business. But is there one accomplishment that you are extremely proud of, or that's just one that you hold dear to you?
Well, I am going to have to say it's the Secretary of Defense Freedom Award. And, I didn't even know there was such an award, but I am a patriot. I'm a big believer in American exceptionalism. This is an amazing country, that our Constitution and our Bill of Rights grant us the real ability to go after life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, unlike other countries. And that the only way to be free is to defend freedom. And so we had an employee, one of our business consultants, that was in the reserves and was activated to be boots on the ground in the Middle East. And all I did is what I thought everybody ought to do, and that's called love on him and love on his family, right? And so we sent care packages to his wife and kids, and notes and texts and care packages to him. And we had one of our team weeks, we had everybody take a picture by departments, like with this, and this is your place, we're saving it for you, Stephen. And we did that because I felt that was the right thing to do, which is called love. That's all it is. It's taking care of somebody. And yes, we paid the difference between his salary and the stipend he gets when he's activated. To me, that seemed like only the right thing to do. We needed to make sure that actually, I think we paid his whole salary, but we needed to make sure his family was taken care of, right? And, we were sending Mother's Day cards and, a turkey for Thanksgiving when he was away. I mean, just I knew I had done recon ahead of time, so I knew his wife's birthday, his kid's birthday, all that stuff. I knew their wedding anniversary. I knew all that stuff, so that I could love on he and his family. And then he gets back and he says, "Hey, there's this award. I'm going to nominate you and the company." It's like, I didn't do this for an award. But it was so cool to get that award, to be selected. First we had to win state, we won Texas, and then we won national. And to be able to go to the Pentagon and get a tour of the Pentagon. And let me tell you, I wish I could have been allowed to have my camera, because the Pentagon is full of signs and digital graphics, signs and visual graphics. They have all these displays down all these halls about all the great things in our country's history and what the armed forces do. And you can't take pictures because it's the Pentagon. But it was such amazing signage and visual graphics, just so amazing. And, to get to be there and to, you know, be on stage with, the Secretary of Defense, Ash Carter. I mean, it was just really a very, very special time. And so that would be the one thing I'm most proud of. But, I didn't try to get that award. It was just, I thought doing the right thing was what we should do as a company.
And of course, you do that to everyone. I feel like I've received notes, from you when a loved one has passed and you've known about it. Of course, when we open our center, you send a note. When I made the board of directors here at the Regional Chamber of Commerce, I get these handwritten notes from you, and they're all posted in my office. They're very special. So I know that he appreciated it because I know that I appreciated it. And I'm a military brat. My dad served in the military for 21 years. So hearing you say that, I didn't even really know everything that went behind that award. So that just makes me like you a little more, for sure.
Well, I'm going to try not to get choked up.
We know better.
We know better. So here's part of why I think I'm here in this world, is when one has had loss and suffering, one understands what others are going through and understands the importance of being there and being a comfort. So I think part of my purpose for being here on this planet is to share support and love. So if I see on Facebook that you lost somebody who was important to you, my feeling is my purpose is better than should. My purpose is to share comfort and love. So there you go. And I didn't bawl like a baby. There you go. I'm impressed.
But we have seen you cry, so I feel like
great. Okay, good.
That's okay.
I'm going to tell you one story. So Undercover Boss filmed 10 days in a row, 10 to 12 hours a day. Now, they had 2 HD cameras on me at all times. So if you just take 10 times 10, that's 100 hours. You take 200 hours of film, and they edit that little thing down to 44 minutes and 45 seconds. Every time I cried in 10 days made that 45-minute episode. I had friends call me like, what the heck is wrong with you, you big crybaby?
Hey, vulnerability is strength, and it is power. There is.
I'm going to write that down. That's good. It is strength and it's power. I think you're exactly right. It certainly is authentic, and it certainly is real.
Well, I'm a crier, so I'm with you.
I will share with you. This is girl talk. So guys, plug your ears right now. I think one of the biggest challenges for male bosses is that, at least for me and many women I know, if we get really angry, and sometimes in business you can get really angry or really frustrated, it comes out in tears. And I have seen, and maybe men are more understanding of that, but I mean, I've been in business a long time, and I was, the first time I got promoted to management, I had a male employee who I was then going to manage quit because he said, I would never have a female boss. I'm quitting today. I will never work for a woman. Right. And so that's a long time ago. I don't think people feel that way now, but I can remember some times or two in my career where my passion or my anger or my frustration came out as tears. And I'm trying to explain, this is not weakness. This is being a woman. Get over it. But, men just sometimes can't handle that.
Well, and I will share with you, and I say this to my other franchisee friends, but often I will tell them, like, the first year I drove an hour and 20 minutes back and forth to my center every single day
That's
because
tough.
I wasn't ready to sell my house and move to Daytona and whatever. And there was many times where I was very tired and many times where I was very frustrated. And I would, she's joined us, I'm so sorry.
Oh,
And I would go under my desk with a roll of toilet paper or whatever, and I would cry under my desk. So I tell people all the time, I'm like, listen, the first year I cried under my desk, but it was really because I didn't want to upset anybody. And they
right.
had a male owner at their store prior to us purchasing it. And the first year had a lot. It was a lot of it was just being tired. I
Oh,
would
I
cry under
totally
my
get that
desk.
because that is a real issue for me as well. Is when I'm tired, it's like, and I have to take assessment. I have to. I'm one of the benefits of being as old as I am is you start to get really in touch with yourself. And so, if I'm not feeling well, I have to ask myself, is this emotion or is this just exhaustion? It's exhaustion. I'm going to go take a nap, right? And even just
Yeah.
laying down for half an hour can make a difference.
That's great. I think it's important for women to be vulnerable. I think it's important for women to be women no matter what role they're in. I think sometimes in leadership, if you're a woman and you express any sort of vulnerability, people just think that you're weak. But the reality is that we're much stronger when we're able to be ourselves, we're able to be open, honest, transparent. And if you gotta cry, you gotta cry. So well, Miss Catherine, I really appreciate your time and end with one last question because I know you've got to get going. But what does the future hold for you? I know it's 11 years now with Fast Signs. I hope to never hear that page closes for you. But what does
Well,
the future hold?
first off, you need to know that the last company I was with, I was there 28 years. All right.
Yes.
I was not looking for a job, and it took a lot of convincing that this was the right place for me. I do get a fair amount of job offers, but I am not interested. I love what I'm doing. World domination for the Fast Signs brand is what I'm all about, and we haven't dominated the world yet, so we've got a little bit more work to do.
Awesome. Well, I just want to say thank you. I appreciate your time. I know that you're super busy, but when I sent the email, honestly, I didn't expect you to reply back so quickly. But I had a feeling I was like, you know what, she'll totally do it. So I appreciate because I know
Well,
you. I'm like, of
this has
course.
been really fun. This has been really fun. It's been a delight for me, and I'm honored that you invited me.
Thank you so much. We will see each other hopefully very soon. I'm still, counting down that we will get to see each other in Vegas, that we will be celebrating, we will be sharing wins, and I just appreciate your positivity, all of your words of encouragement to us weekly and throughout the years. So you just have a wonderful day, and again, I know we have some big wins we're going to be sharing soon.
We are. Thank you very much. Really appreciate your time.
You're welcome. Bye.
Bye.